I'm your friendly new media Mothman, Zach the Mothman Daggy, and welcome to another edition of the Midnight Spook Show, your online source for all the horror news, reviews, and interviews that you can scream at. And for this edition of Midnight Spook Show, it is another edition of The Vault. Now, The Vault is the part of Spook Show where I recommend some older horror films that are must-watch films for anyone in the horror fan community. So consider this your school of horror. So the film I'm adding to the vault for this edition is The Faculty. This was a 1998 film directed by one of my favorite directors, Robert Rodriguez. Now, this was really one of his early films. Robert Rodriguez is, of course, the guy that brought you Machete, Grindhouse, Sin City, and, of course, From Dusk Till Dawn. And the stars of this film, well, there's actually quite a bit of them. None of them are really, top-tier A-list actors, at least not at the time. But there's a lot of faces you're going to recognize. It stars Clea DuVall of The Grudge, Laura Harris from the TV series Dead Like Me, one of my favorite series, Josh Hartnett from one of my favorite vampire films, 30 Days of Night, Elijah Wood, before he became a Hobbit in The Lord of the Rings, Robert Patrick, the T-1000 himself from Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Salma Hayek from Dusk Till Dawn, and Famke Janssen, who you may know from the X-Men trilogy. And it surprised me to see this guy in it. Jon Stewart is in the movie. Jon Stewart from The Daily Show. He plays a science professor. So the plot line of The Faculty is pretty simple. Invasion of the Body Snatchers in high school. Basically, it's about high school in rural Ohio, and the faculty at this school begin becoming possessed by these parasitic alien organisms. And of course, the parasitic alien organisms want to take over the world. If you're going to travel to Earth, from billions of light years away, you better have a good reason. And, taking over the world is pretty good. So, the alien organisms possessing the faculty start turning the school into basically not really a breeding facility, but a place where they can start marching people through to possess them. And, of course, a ragtag group of high schoolers discover what their evil plans are and vow to stop them and prevent the apocalypse. Now, I'm a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In fact, you can't really see it on the screen, but above my head on that white shelf, barely showing, is an entire shelf full of seasons of Buffy. Behind me there's Seasons of Angel, the spinoff. So, big fan of Buffy, so that's what really drew me to this film. It has a very Buffy vibe. It's that campy action horror vibe that really works. And since I'm kind of stuck in the 90s anyway, that really worked well for me. And it's the group of kids in it are your tried and true standards of any high school horror movie. You got the geek, you got the goth, the cheerleader, the jock, the rebel, and the new kid. And of course, this is a group that vows to stop the end of the world. And what really works, though, for me, is the juxtaposition of the mindless slaves, they're, the alien possessed people, kind of represent, conformity. And, in high school, you try to be popular, you try to fit in with the crowd, and that's what this movie tries to show, is that, you really want to fit in with the rest of the crowd. Of course, this crowd happens to be homicidal maniacs, but still, you get the point. But then again, I went through high school, so that sounds about right. But anyway, the point being is that, it's about being independent, and why that's important, and, so they try to deliver that message while having some pretty decent alien fights and such. And, and I gotta say, this film has Robert Patrick at his absolute creepiest. The guy played T-1000. He can do creepy really well. So yeah, I highly recommend this film. I think it's a film that kind of got swept under the rug when the decade changed over. And I think you gotta check it out. So again, the film is The Faculty, and it's a highly recommended part of the Spookshow's Vault. You can, of course, check out more editions of the Vault and other reviews and interviews and such over at spookshow.tv. And I should have a trailer for The Faculty in the post for this episode. So check it out, and until next time, I'm your friendly new media Mothman, advising them when watching great horror films, be sure to turn it up and turn out the lights. Cheers. This episode of Midnight Spook Show is brought to you by Pet Meds. If you're looking to take care of your furry friend, Pet Meds has you covered. They have some of the leading products, be it pet supplies or medications, and they'll deliver it straight to your door, and you can save 10% on your next order simply by going over to 1-800-PetMeds.com/midnight. And yes, indeed, Midnight Spook Show is proud to be a paid affiliate of Pet Meds.